Hi, my name is Corley Sinkota, and welcome to my Summary of Learning for EC&I 834, where I will be sharing my learning journey in creating a course prototype for a blended learning environment. I wanted to shift the student experience from a lecture-based, instructor-focused structure to a student-centered focus, where learners can apply their knowledge in team building. The solution? The flipped classroom. Here's how this type of blended learning works. Students complete pre-class work online at their own pace, creating more time in class to practice their team-building skills, where I can continue to support their learning. And of course, their use of technology in practicing team building is integral to developing employability skills. Speaking of technology, I needed an online platform to facilitate students' interaction with content, each other, and me, their instructor. I had a choice between a traditional learning management system, or LMS, like Brightspace or Moodle, or an LMS with a more social media feel like Schoology or Edmodo. At first, I was not keen on the traditional LMS option. As Audrey Waters points out, that when used exclusively, these LMSs close learners off from a comprehensive networked learning experience, and wonders why learning is locked in and locked down. Learning under these conditions does not sound ideal. But I believe with the appropriate integration of digital media, a traditional LMS has so much potential. So I chose Brightspace as a central hub for my prototype. Here's why. The borders of Brightspace can be expanded to include social platforms such as Twitter to help students grow and strengthen their personal learning networks, or PLNs. Multimedia learning artifacts, typically created in the open web, can be easily shared in the LMS. More importantly, are easily accessible past the course end date. And I chose it for practical reasons too. Brightspace is widely used and supported within the institution where the course is offered. Now, on to creating quality content and interactive activities. According to Bates, there are 4 key principles of sound instructional design, which includes consistent layout and design. Brightspace got us covered. Clear organization and presentation of information. Brightspace, check. Consistent and easy-to-use navigation. Brightspace, not a problem. Aesthetically pleasing design and graphics. Brightspace, ooh, it could be better. So I ventured out and found Adobe Spark. Through this web-based platform, I created compelling content pages that included images, text, and video to meet the diverse learning style of my students. This user-friendly platform easily integrated with Brightspace. I did develop a few instructional pages within Brightspace, which required me to use an HTML editor. This was a steep learning curve. After pulling my hair out a few times and consulting with an armchair coder, I managed to make it work. At this point, I wondered, is this simply a case of if you build it, they will come? I wasn't certain, so I consulted the literature for methods to increase student motivation to be active participants in the online pre-course work. I implemented the following strategies: creating value and connection between theory and practice, providing only the necessary content in bite-sized chunks to avoid cognitive overload, and promoting student accountability by incorporating learner collaboration. My next consideration was how I can foster a virtual community of learning. According to Schreier, a community of learning cannot be created by the instructor. Rather, it can be developed and supported through meaningful student interaction. To foster this, I included open-ended, high-gain reflective discussion prompts for Twitter and the discussion forums within Brightspace. Students also have a virtual hallway in the discussion forums to support each other informally. At this point, I considered the level of involvement I should have in student online discussions. Too much, and I may create a dependency on what I think. Too little presence, and students may feel unsupported. And what impact does my inherent power position have on the student's confidence to speak freely? This is certainly a delicate balance to consider. With respect to authentic learning, I believe it can happen in both open and closed spaces. Students sharing their learning in open spaces is great for growing their PLNs and contributing their knowledge to society. But I also believe safe, closed spaces need to be created for students to share their critical reflections to avoid the potential of self-censorship or unfair judgment. Throughout my prototype, I strive to design a learning environment equally accessible to all students. For example, I have ensured there is closed captioning or transcripts for all videos, that content layout is easy to navigate and read, content can be downloaded to be viewed offline, and formatted instructional materials to be compatible with screen readers like Google Read and Write and I'm Translator. These supports can convert text to speech, translate English to the preferred language, and talk and type, to name a few features. But of course, learning student preferences is one of the most important considerations for accessibility. This highlights how I design my flipped classroom to be student-centered. Within Brightspace, I strive to incorporate sound instructional design, increase student motivation, foster a virtual learning community, and ensure equal student accessibility. Thank you for following along. Creating a blended learning prototype has been challenging but rewarding. I am excited to put my plan into action.